Biggest mistake people make when planning Australia and New Zealand combined doesn't happen on the road, it happens before they even book their flights. Every year travelers spend thousands of dollars arriving in the wrong season, battling closed roads, cancelled tours or extreme weather, and they don't realize it until it's too late. In this video you'll learn about 2 critical mistakes, and once you see them, everything about how you plan your trip will change. Let's get started. Mistake number 1, weather. Travelers assume Australia and New Zealand have similar weather patterns. They don't. Even in the same time of the year, these countries have dramatically different climates, so the timing can work against you. Here's a perfect example. January and February are New Zealand's peak summer months, ideal for hiking and exploring, but that's also when tropical Cairns hits cyclone season with torrential rain, high humidity. If you're planning both locations, this combination will fail. Australia's weather varies widely region by region. From mid-November onwards, Northern Australia is typically the wet season, with high humidity, passing cyclones and heavy rain. The outback and Western Australia, extreme heat waves, especially north of Perth. For New Zealand, weather can be unpredictable outside the more stable weather months between January and May. So when should you actually go? There are 2 golden time slots that solve this problem completely. I'll reveal them in a moment, including which country to visit first based on your exact travel months. Now, mistake number 2 might sting, but it saves you days of wasted travel time. Most travelers dramatically underestimate the distances in both countries and how long it actually takes to cover them. Australia has a similar size to continental United States, so Sydney to Cairns, 2,400 kilometers or 1,500 miles, like driving from San Diego to Vancouver. New Zealand's South Island alone stretches over 1,000 kilometers, so from the top to the bottom, like Picton to Milford Sound. Also, here's what catches people out. With Google Map driving times in New Zealand, you'll need to add 10 to 15% time into your planning. The roads wind through mountains, you will stop for photos constantly, and that 3-hour quick drive becomes a 4-hour road trip. So when someone tells me that they want to visit Sydney, Great Barrier Reef, Uluru, Melbourne, Milford Sound, Queenstown, Rotorua and the 𝗟𝗡 Tasman National Park in 2 weeks, here's what actually happens. They spend 30 to 40% of their trip in airports and in the cars on roads. They will arrive everywhere exhausted with time for one quick photo before rushing to the next spot. They return home needing a vacation from the vacation. Actually, I want to pause here because I'm really curious. When you've planned trips before, what caught you off guard? Distances taking longer than expected, the wrong season, too many locations? Let me know in the comments box below, because understanding these pain points helps me create better video content to share with other travelers. Back to distances, here's the twist nobody mentions. Australian domestic airports require you to arrive 60 to 90 minutes prior departure. So that 3-hour flight from Sydney to Cairns becomes a 6-hour commitment with airport transfers, security, baggage claim and getting to your accommodation. Multiply this by 4 to 5 flights, you've just lost 2 full days to airports alone. But here's a strategy that makes this work, even with limited time. And it's completely different for 2 weeks or 3 weeks of available holiday time. More on that very shortly. Now, if you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button below to stay in touch for more helpful travel videos to come. Also, please hit that little like button below. It helps our channel to grow and produce more helpful travel videos. Thank you very much. Back to timing, let's be honest, I don't recommend cramming Australia and New Zealand in a 2 weeks holiday. But if that's all the vacation time you can get, I'm not going to tell you it's impossible. You just need to be laser focused with your planning strategy. The bitter truth is you cannot see everything, but you can create an incredible experience by choosing one country as your main focus and treating the other one as a 3 to 4 night highlight. Here's option 1 for a 2-week trip focusing on New Zealand. You arrive in Sydney and stay for 3 nights. Do Sydney, Opera House, Bondi, etc., but also do the Blue Mountains as a day trip. Then take a flight to Christchurch in New Zealand and have 10 days in the South Island, Mount Cook, Queenstown, Milford Sound, the West Coast, and maybe even the 𝗟𝗶𝗆𝗀𝗃 Tasman National Park. Stay as much as possible for 2 nights at key locations. This will be a memorable trip without rushing it. Here's option 2 for a 2-week trip with focus on Australia. You arrive in Sydney, 2 nights and 1 full day in the city to explore, then take a flight from Sydney to Cairns and transfer to Port Douglas. Stay for 3 nights here and explore for 1 day the Great Barrier Reef and for 1 full day the Daintree Forest. Then fly from Cairns to Auckland, New Zealand and have 1 night in Auckland and 2 nights in Rotorua. Then take a flight to the South Island and have 5 nights there, like Queenstown, Fiordland, the West Coast and Christchurch. Again, this will be a lovely trip. Check out some sample travel itineraries in my playlist up here, as well as they're linked in the description box below. Now, if you can, adding even 1 to 2 extra days makes a big difference. Having 1 extra week, perfect. Hold on, now it gets really interesting. The timing strategy that changes everything. The golden time slots for visiting both Australia and New Zealand are the months between March and May and September to November. Also, those shoulder seasons mean more stable weather conditions, fewer crowds and lower costs. But here's what most people miss. Which country you choose to visit first depends entirely on your travel months. So you travel between March and May, visit New Zealand first. New Zealand's autumn season delivers stable weather, golden landscapes and accessible hiking trails. By late April, early May, you hit Australia's ideal conditions, the start of the dry season in the north. So traveling from September to November, you start in Australia. You catch Australia's dry season in the north and the central regions. You arrive in New Zealand as spring turns into summer, perfect for South Island alpine adventures. Now, if you can stretch your trip to 3 weeks, this changes everything. This is where a combined Australia and New Zealand trip goes from barely doable to absolutely incredible. Now, here's a 3 weeks formula for Australia and New Zealand. You would have 6 to 7 nights in Australia, like 3 nights in Sydney. You have 3 nights in the Cairns, Port Douglas region to do the Great Barrier Reef and the Daintree Forest. The best time to do that is between May and October to avoid the wet season in the tropical north. After that, you have time for New Zealand, like 4 nights in the North Island, 1 night in Auckland, 3 nights in Rotorua or in Taupo, or even do the Tongariro crossing. Then you have 10 nights in the South Island, like you do Queenstown, Tianau, Milford Sound, Wanaka, the wine regions, the west coast of the South Island, and even the 𝗟𝗶𝗆𝗀 Tasman National Park. Then you fly back to Auckland to catch up with your international flight. But even then, in 3 weeks, you have tough decisions to make. You cannot do the entire Australian east coast, and some of the locations in Australia and New Zealand you have to take out. If your focus is hiking and nature, you might want to consider to do 7 nights in Tasmania, do the Cradle Mountains, etc., and then head over to New Zealand's South Island for 14 nights or 14 days. You could do the Milford Track, the Rootman Track, the Kepler, and other tracks in the South Island. To do this, it would be best between November and April to catch the best season for both those locations. So here's your strategy to combining Australia and New Zealand. Is it challenging? Yes. Will smart timing and focused location planning make it incredible? Absolutely. Check out my 3 weeks Australia and New Zealand sample itinerary video up here or in the box below. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next video.